Mr. President, New York Times' latest reporting tells us everything we need to know about why President Trump has worked so hard to conceal his tax returns from the American people. The president is a liar, a cheat, and a fraud.
A federal grand jury in New York has returned an indictment against New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez. The indictment accuses Menendez and his wife of having a corrupt relationship with 3 New Jersey businessmen. The couple's accused of accepting hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes in exchange for using the senator's influence to enrich the businessmen.
For years, he marketed himself as a self-made, successful businessman. But it's all an illusion. Like the Wizard of Oz, behind the curtain is just a small, petty fraud.
New Jersey Democratic Senator Bob Menendez has been indicted by a federal grand jury. The senator and his wife are being charged with accepting hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes.
He made millions playing a billionaire businessman on TV, but in real life, Donald Trump was racking up huge losses and debts that he then used to get out of paying his fair share of federal taxes.
Prosecutors, after a federal grand jury in New York, returned a sweeping indictment, pretty shocking, the allegations of corruption and these charges against New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez. He's the chairman of the powerful Foreign Relations Committee. In fact, one of the most powerful offices you could have in Washington. And this is the second corruption indictment in 8 years.
Call it whatever you want. The bottom line is that Trump is no business genius. He's a con artist who thinks that the rules don't apply to him.
New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez and his wife indicted by a federal grand jury. The senator is accused of using his office to help several businessmen from New Jersey, as well as the Egyptian government, in exchange for receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars in gifts, including cash, a luxury vehicle, even gold bars.
There is no surprise to most New Jerseyans. We watched in horror as Donald Trump ran his Atlantic City casinos into the ground, scamming hardworking contractors out of their pay and costing the local economy thousands of jobs.
Prosecutors say the couple took bribes that included cash, gold and payments towards a mortgage, compensation for a low or no-show job, a luxury vehicle, and other things of value. It's like a soap opera, but this is reality.
Donald Trump was like a reverse King Midas. Everything he touched went bankrupt.
The indictment also revealing that in June of last year, federal agents searched Menendez's New Jersey home and actually found nearly $500,000 in cash. That's a lot. Some was stuffed in envelopes and some hidden in clothing. They also allegedly found over $100,000 worth of gold bars and a Mercedes-Benz convertible for Menendez's wife.
The president is on the hook for approximately $421 million in loans. To get out of the debt, the president is doing everything he can to profit off the presidency.
Menendez appears to be the first sitting United States senator in history to have been indicted on 2 unrelated criminal allegations.
Trump is still badly in debt, and it's no surprise intelligence experts are concerned about who's holding it. They worry about the president's personal exposure to foreign creditors and what that might mean for national security.
The indictment alleges that between 2018 and 2022, Senator Menendez, the senior U.S. Senator from New Jersey and the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and his wife Nadine Menendez, engaged in a corrupt relationship with Hannah, Uribe, and Davies.
Is this why Trump refuses to punish Putin for putting bounties on the heads of U.S. soldiers? Is this why he applauds dictators like Erdogan and sells out American allies like the Kurds?
The senator and his wife accepted hundreds of thousands of dollars of bribes in exchange for Senator Menendez using his power and influence to protect and to enrich those businessmen and to benefit the government of Egypt.
The bottom line is this: who does Donald Trump owe those hundreds of millions of dollars to? And how much do they know about him? And how deep are they into him?
The indictment alleges that Senator Menendez used his power and influence, including his leadership role on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, to benefit the government of Egypt in various ways.
For years, the president has fought to keep Americans in the dark. Well, now we know why.
Senator Menendez allegedly provided sensitive, non-public U.S. government information to Egyptian officials and otherwise took steps to secretly aid the government of Egypt.
I'm talking about the entirely legitimate question of whether Donald Trump could be compromised by the Russian government. It's more than a legitimate question.
The indictment alleges that Senator Menendez used his power and influence to try to disrupt a criminal investigation and prosecution undertaken by the New Jersey Attorney General's office.
It's the natural question that comes to mind every time we learn more about the links between President Trump, his associates, and the Russian government.
The indictment alleges that Senator Menendez used his power and influence to try to disrupt a federal prosecution of Davies in the District of New Jersey.
With the Mueller investigation possibly coming to a close in the near future, we may be forced to deal with both Congress and the American public with some very stark facts about the president's ties to Russia.
Let's pull up a picture of that Mercedes that Menendez's wife got. Okay, so if you flip over to page 22, 23 of the indictment, here's what you learn. Uribe, who was this business partner, actually contacted the dealership on behalf of the wife. Then they meet in a parking lot where she receives $15,000 in cash. The next day, Nadine Menendez purchased the Mercedes-Benz convertible, making a $15,000 down payment.
A few weeks ago, that the nation's top law enforcement agency reportedly opened a counterintelligence investigation into the president, in part for firing the FBI director because of, quote, unquote, this Russia thing.
This is shocking and amazing. It sounds like part of a Sopranos TV show, right?
You can't make this stuff up.
I think you have to ask yourself, you know, what was the secret information that went to the Egyptians? How did it influence our policy? How did it influence Egypt's policy? What happened as a result of the fact that the head of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee was on the payroll, that he could be bought?
Yes.
This is I mean, because I don't know if people understand, that's a really important position in Washington.
Absolutely.
It is the contact with governments all over the world.
Not even in your wildest dreams, not even on the TV set of Homeland, could you make this stuff up.
I am your voice.
I only hope the American people are catching on.